All right, the Ruger target pistol. This is the pistol we'll be using in class to shoot the permit qualification for. When you go downrange, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find a pistol that does not have a magazine in it. You can see there's no mag in it, and we have a chamber flag in it. This flag goes into the chamber like so, telling us for sure that there's no rounds in it. This thing cannot have a bullet or a cartridge in the chamber if this is in there, because this chamber flag flags the chamber and tells us there's no rounds in it. And so we know this is a safe gun. You will also have 2 magazines. They will not have any rounds in them. This one has dummies. We'll play with that in a minute. But you will have 2 empty magazines out there, and we'll have a loading device we can use at a different time. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to play with the pistol itself. So you're going to pick the pistol up and you're going to put it in your shooting hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to put it in my right hand in a shooting grip we talked about in class. We're going to take the chamber flag out and we're going to let the slide go. Now, on the left-hand side of most of the pistols, this is what you will see. You will see 2 buttons and a hole where another button used to be. This one was the safety. We're not using the safeties in this class. Don't really need them for this class, because if you load the gun and put it on safe, you immediately have to take it off safe to shoot, because there's no pausing here. All right, we're not going to be loading the gun and leaving it loaded for an extended period of time before we shoot the gun. So we are going to load the gun and immediately start shooting it. So there's no load, safe, unsafe, shoot. And what I found in class is that button just wound up confusing people because they were new and it's not their gun, and they wound up like putting the gun on safe and fiddling with it and stuff. So it's gone. And I also took the magazine disconnect out. If you don't know, some guns are designed so that if you take the magazine out, you can't dry fire them. I need you to dry fire in class, so I got rid of that. That leaves us with 2 buttons we got to fool with. Got this button and this button. So notice there's a lower button and an upper button. The lower button is called the magazine release. That button controls the bottom half of the gun. That drops our magazine. Upper button is our slide release or slide stop, depending upon what we're doing with it. We're going to release the slide. We need to push that button this way, and that lets our slide go forward. So we're going to sweep down like that. Lets our slide go forward. When we pull the slide back on these guns, these are weirdo little guns, okay? It's not the whole top of the slide that moves. It's only this part here, those little ears right there is what you're going to pull back like that, okay? When we do that, right-handed shooters are going to do it something like that. Left-handed shooters, something like that. Grab, pull, let, go. Pull, let, go. Let the spring work all the way. Don't help the gun by being easy with it. You're not going to hurt this gun by letting the spring work. And what's going to happen is if you help the gun forward, you're probably going to cause a jam here because it's not working with the energy it needs to. And you're going to wind up pinching yourself right there. And I'm going to have to let you borrow a Band-Aid. So pull it back, let it go, and it's loaded. Okay. If we need to lock this open manually, we can pull the slide back, push up, that locks it, push down, lets it go. To work these controls as a lefty, I would prefer if you learn to use your trigger finger to activate your magazine release and your slide release, slide stop. So stop, release, stop, release, okay? Some left-handed shooters will find themselves wanting to come across the top of the gun and activate it with the right hand, or come under the gun and do the same thing. Not really best practices, and with this gun in particular, what you wind up, what I've seen before, is people come across here and then they don't realize they've got the web of their hand in the ejection port here, and they hit the slide release here and bam, okay, and that goes forward and it bites the web of the hand pretty significantly. So don't do that. If you're a lefty, try to get in the habit of using your trigger finger to control the guns. Okay. Now, I do want to show you guys on the magazine. So when we release the magazine, when we hit that magazine release, you want to have your hand under there so you can catch the magazine as it comes out. Okay, hit the magazine release, squeeze it, magazine comes out like that. I want you to note something here. This is a 22 semi-auto pistol. All right, I'm going to show you on this side. When we put the magazine in the pistol, it goes in at a very steep angle like that. As you can see how flat, flush this magazine, the floor plate, the bottom of it is. See how that looks on that one. Okay, so flush with the bottom, and then the top of the magazine comes right up to the ejection port, which is where it should. All right, but notice how steeply that goes in there. Most semi-autos, if you've played with any, you've put the magazine in something like that. Well, all that does is frustrate you with this pistol. So if you're trying to put this magazine in like that, it's not going to work. You're just going to wind up messing around in there, and if you're not careful, you'll wind up pulling the bullets out of the magazine and causing malfunctions. You can see there's this weird little finger device in there, and it helps keep the magazine oriented, but you can wind up raking bullets out of the magazine with it while you're here trying to figure out how the magazine works. It goes in there. So it goes in very steep like that. If you try to go in there too steep, not going to work. Very steep like that. All right, and you're going to have time to play with this in the classroom, so don't worry about that. Now, on the magazines themselves, let's look at those. So the magazines, you can see, full one, empty one. This little thumb stud device here on the side is going to be important. What happens when we pull that down, it controls what's called our follower. Follower follows the bullets up the magazine. Okay, so that is what we're going to be doing. We're pulling that down. You can see it exposes a V-shaped notch at the top of the magazine. We're going to use that. How we're going to use it is this. I'm going to get these rounds out of here so you can see a whole bunch of dummies. All right, so we're going to take these dummies, and you'll see the dummies are just like a regular round. They're flat on one end and round on the other. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our magazine, pull down on the little thumb device there, and expose that V-shaped notch. And when we do, we're going to take the flat of the cartridge and we're going to put it in that little notch. So flat in the notch like so, and then drop it back. And don't go down just a little at a time. When you're don't pull it all the way down, the rounds will wind up laying in there sideways if you do that. So just go down enough to put one round in, put that round in, go down, around in, and so forth till you get them all in there. So round in like that. So once you've got all the rounds in there, this magazine only holds 10 rounds. We're shooting sequences of 10 rounds at a time, so just fill all the magazines up. Okay, there's no need to pull this down and count how many rounds you got in there, because if it's still taking rounds, you don't have 10 in it. Keep putting them in there till you've got 10 in it. Once you've got 10 in there and the magazine is full, make sure this top bullet is tipped up like that. And that's the way you want it to look. If it looks like this, it's probably going to jam. Looks like that, it's probably not going to jam. So make sure both of your magazines look like that. Now, this thingy, okay, what that does is saves you a blister, right? Pulling down on that thumb stud, you can hear that magazine has a very significant spring. By the time we're only shooting 5 magazines, all right, 5 magazines, 10 rounds each. 5 magazines, you can do that, 5 magazines, and probably the worst you're going to have is a little red spot on your thumb. If you do more than that, though, if this is your pistol and you've got a day out at the range shooting, if you do more than 5 magazines, you do 10 magazines, you're starting to work on a blister. It's that significant and that rough. But what we have is this device here. This is a thumb saver, a speed loader, depending upon how you want to look at it. So we're going to put the magazine in this thing like that. Okay, so here, just like that. And then we're going to use that, push that down. Okay, and about any gun, any rimfire pistol will use a magazine very similar to this. And these are not universal per se. There are some that are gun specific, but most of the guns, the magazines are very similar because the bullets are very similar and they all work similar. So if you have a gun similar to this, get you one of these devices. It'll save you some headache and some bad language when you're trying to have a fun day out at the range. Okay, so that is how the gun works, and you guys are going to get to play with them.